Alright folks, welcome to this wild sunset adventure. This is one of these evening explorers. I've got the wee Honda chilling down there at the roadside, and today we're joined by the channel DJ, and we're away to go and try and find a little abandoned farm, which is like a house and maybe like a shed or a couple of sheds. So yeah, we're away to head on into this landscape. The old Balati Lodge and that I've been to before on videos is over there. This is like a whole new place, never seen before on the channel. Do you think we should walk up that way?
Yeah.
It's a crazy steep hill here, folks. Once again, we're exploring the unbeaten path here and just pathfinding our way through. At least with this one, we know there's like an abandoned historical wonder hidden at the end of it. A cool bit of abandoned history. Wow, this forest's crazy. This is a crazy adventure, folks, through this mystical forest. On one of these adventures, we literally do not know what we're going to find. We've just noticed there's like a track leading along there, and it's just typical that we're in the middle of nowhere on rough terrain when there's a track so near. It'd been far easier to walk there. But we're all about the adventure, and locating these abandoned places often, you just hate to go as the crow flies straight in to the wilderness, folks. It's like coming into a Lord of the Rings set or something. Look at this, folks, we've made it to the bottom of this forest, and this abandoned historical wonder is now in sight. And it's always so cool coming to new abandoned history that we've never seen before. And we try and uncover any like nuggets of history, and we try and see what's been there. I just noticed two deer running away. Look at the colour of those clouds up there, they're orangey pink. Because literally, once again, folks, we're out on a sunset adventure here. It's often the coolest time to explore. And it is cool to see little abandoned buildings like this one. I didn't even know this place existed until today. Must have been a little farmhouse. Cool exploring old farm history, folks, and imagining like what went on back in the day when it was in its prime. It's often interesting as well to see the decay of these old buildings and to see how nature just takes over after they're like left. Once they're left to their own devices, they just degrade and decay, and before you know it, they look like this, folks. And when we come to visit these places, it's almost like stepping back in time. You uncover little different layers of history, and then you can imagine how it was when it was like a thriving farm here on the hill. There we go, folks, we safely navigated that fence. Oh aye. Check the sky out here too, folks. It's just magical, like the scenery here. It's like walking about in a movie set. That's the forest there we've just come down through. The land here is just wild and desolate. Look at this, folks. Here is the abandoned house. We've just noticed there's actually another little house over here which is not abandoned. Shout out if you can see this. That's your little house here. It's a cool spot for a house. But look at this. This is some ancient house, probably originally in the 1700s. It'll be owned just by the local farmer or landowner now, and it's just left to its own devices. Look at this, folks, for an abandoned sunset historical wonder. This must have been some old like shed, and this must have been the house. Let's start off by looking at the house. Where's the door been? It's no been here. This has been some little windows. Is the sink still there? No way, look at this folks. Crazy abandoned history right here.
This is the outhouse maybe there.
Wow. That's insane folks, just to find abandoned history like this here in the wild countryside. It's just incredible. That lintel does not look very secure up there. Look at it folks, it's just teetering on the edge. That's how it's so cool to document this sort of stuff. Every year it falls down more and more. Look at the old windows. It must have been a little farmer's house or a farm worker's house. Look at that folks. Wow. The character of that is just incredible. I said that so much on last week's video, but like sometimes there's so long in between each clip when you're recording it you forget that you've said the same word about 20 times in the same video. But like when you come to something like this, it's just incredible. It's like you step back in time and imagine the people sitting at the fireside after a hard day's work in the fields. I can see it's actually pretty much a full moon tonight up in the sky there. Wow, what does it look like in there? Look at this old fire. Oh, there's a proper cast iron fire here. Look at this folks, proper old fire. You can see the circles there where it must have heated the food up and stuff. Let me have a look in. Look at this folks, this must be like a little toilet or bathroom area. Wow, check the wee sink out. That's so cool. We love finding stuff like this. And then check that, it's full of like leaves and stuff. Asbestos roof. Yeah. Houses like this has probably been abandoned since like the 60s or earlier. It's like they've had a bath or something over there, or there's been something going on. Document history folks. The more years that pass, it'll just can get worse and worse. But look, the slates there, that shows it's had a slate roof. Because some of these old buildings we go to has had different types of roof, like slabs and even asbestos panels. The old sash window. Be a few years since that was opened. There's been a few breezes in here that's not come through the window though. The way it's built with the stones, you can tell it's a really old setup. This must be the old door.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah. That must have been laid there to stop animals getting in. Yeah, look at this folks, it's had little outside buildings as well. We'll take a look around the front. It's cool just to imagine the old farming history when a house like this was in its prime. Look at it, this is the front view. The atmosphere of these places just left in the middle of this wilderness. It's just incredible when you explore them. Does it look like there's been something built this way at one time?
I don't know if that was like maybe a loading, there was definitely a door there.
Yeah, oh yeah, a big door. But also look, it's like there's been something here.
Yeah, well, it's on this side as well. I don't know if it's just the way the stones are laid.
Look at that folks, there's still a bit, there's been a hatch up here.
There's been something here,
Maybe for livestock or ventilation. Maybe if they stored grain and stuff. Oh look, there's been a water wheel there coming in through from there. Let's have a look. We'll have to have a look in that. We'll have a look in here first. We'll have a look around the corner in a minute folks, but because we're already at this side, we'd be as well having a look in here. Because the water wheel drive comes in through the door here. So this must have been their mill shed. And then look, it's had the 2 stories. You can see the line where that door's been accessing maybe a loft. And then look at this here. Ancient historical wonder folks. This is the drive coming in from like a water wheel outside the building. There's only a small bit of it left. But check it out, eh? It's amazing what you find abandoned here in the Scottish wilderness, folks. That's so cool. Just think, folks, that'll be the latest in farming technology at one time. This would have been a thriving little farm. Yeah. That wooden lintels like survived so many storms. Oh, aye. Look at that, folks, the last remnants of the old door there. And I'm gonna take a look through it, because the water wheel pit must be there where the other end of that shaft is. So cool, folks, to see that. Even an empty shed there has so much to like, it's like hidden within it. It looks like an empty shed, but actually it's full of incredible history. And look, it's hard to even see because it must be under here. It must have been backfilled. Look at this, folks, there's something been dumped here as well, an old bit of farming, something. Yeah. So this wheel pit here at this farm must have been filled in. Look how red the sky's getting now up there. That is crazy. So that goes to show they must have had a water supply coming from somewhere for this. And probably this door took you out to like tend to the wheel. It's from ancient times, folks. I'm thinking this farm would have been in its prime in like the 1700s. Probably into the early 1800s. And then it's like it's just been abandoned and the history has been lost. Looks like that wall is actually starting to like lean in there the way it looks for here, which is a shame. Look at that for an abandoned view, folks. A little farm, just a nugget of history, nestled in the wild landscape and just forgotten, overrun now by moss and probably sheep when they're in that field. This has been some proper little sheds at this side. They've probably been keeping their grain and stuff in it. And
That's been a slate off the roof.
oh, aye, big slates.
Yeah.
And by the old stone construction, that's normally like 1700s they did stuff like that. Which, for what I've seen, look, there's something in there, like a contraption.
Yeah.
Is that like a little engine or something? Yeah, I can see it's the electrical pole that's there, folks. See, the slates are all in the corner. I don't know if somebody maybe had been sorting out if the roof fell in at one time.
The gutter's still on top of this wall.
Oh, aye. Yeah, the roof's probably just fallen straight in and all that stuff was just left. But like, it's been a fair little farm complex in its day, like.
Aye.
Probably there would have been cows and stuff coming around here now and again or whatever, getting sorted out. This might have been their gate out into the field.
Yeah.
All these ancient dikes, they've stood the test of time. Looks like there's a few other tanks and stuff, but they've maybe been used as like troughs for the animals. And that's the little kitchen kind of bathroom bit we were in at the corner, which must have been a later addition. I'm thinking that house has been there for the 1700s, but it must have been lived in all the way up to like the 1930s at least, I would say, maybe 40s, maybe even 50s, folks. So it is crazy. Crazy bit of old history, folks. There's some other piles of stones and that, but you never know what there's been. They might have had like a little orchard and stuff like that. And then it looks like there is somebody's house over here at the far side of that field, so we're not going any further around there. Because we always come with respect on these adventures. But a place like that has got so much abandoned atmosphere and character. It's a special place. Back on with this sunset adventure though, folks, look at this. We can still see where we're going, so it's not too bad. No pressure, like. There we go, folks. Cross the fences like a pro. We're just heading through this wood now, folks, to try and get to that track. There's a track leads down to that house, so it'll be far easier going up that way instead of climbing up through these trees again. Once again, we find ourselves on a crazy adventure through the unforgiving wilderness here. It's getting pretty dark. It looks like the footage is coming out alright on the camera screen, but really, even with the eye now, it's getting dark, folks. We've just reached that time of day. This is crazy, folks. We've literally documented another piece of abandoned history there, which we didn't even know existed until today, and we saw it in the distance. Here's somebody's snow shovel here. We've just literally come through the forest onto this track because we know it goes back to the main road, and we didn't want to go past that person's house because we're always exploring just the wild lands. Look at this, the road's cut in where the stones are just... It looks built up, eh?
Yeah.
Probably some ancient road builder. Maybe this was the original road down to that farm which we've just been at.
Yeah.
That must be what it is. So there's probably been old horses and stuff coming up here for hundreds of years, pulling trailers with barley and straw and everything on them, whatever they're doing. They wouldn't have had bales anyway, would they? Look at this wee hut here. That must be some watershed or something. Must be something for the estate. The most likely thing is it's some sort of water tank, like. It is a strange little shed there. And it's getting darker and darker here, folks. But the adventure's real. The wind is just non-existent around this side of the hill. Perfect for vlogging, folks. And we're just about back at the main road. Look at this, folks, we've made it back to the main road now, and that's been a cool little adventure. It wasn't far that we had to walk to find that abandoned farm, but literally, it's something new, it's always interesting. We've never seen it before on the channel, and it's worth documenting all these abandoned places before they're gone forever. And getting to see that water wheel drive coming in through the shed wall, that's like a cool thing to see. A little bit of farming, like mechanical, what would the word be? A mechanism of farming. Something interesting anyway, folks. Anyway, I'll end this video here. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon with the next one.
If we don't get run over.